Welcome back, Queen, to another episode of Creatress of Freedom. Oh my gosh. Hello, hello. I'm so excited and so happy to be dropping on in with you right now. And I'm actually going to give you some really great strategies in this episode. So, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. If you are new, hi, I'm Annie. I am your host. I am from Australia, but currently living my best Greek goddess life in Greece. Like, what the heck? Oh my gosh. So, hello, hello. If you're new, I'm so happy that you're here. And if you're an OG, oh my God, girl, you know I love you. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy that you're also here as well. I'm just so, it's such an honor, every time I record these beautiful episodes, I always think of the woman that's on the other end that's tuning in and listening and the medicine that she's getting. And maybe she's walking and maybe she's in the car or maybe she is like doing dinner and she's got me in her ears. Like, oh my gosh, I'm like, it kind of makes me feel a little bit juicy. I'm like, oh, where are you when you're listening to me? I'd love to hear. Come and let me know. Like, oh, where are you? Where are you coming in from when you're tuning into these episodes? It means the absolute world to me. I get quite emotional, like knowing that so many of you are tuning on in, and this started off just this like little baby episode, and you're growing and evolving with me, and we're doing this journey together. So thank you for being here. It's an absolute honor to be supporting you in all different areas of your life. So, oh, I love you. I love you so much. So, today I want to talk about quiet months, right? And I feel like this is a great conversation for us to have because usually somewhere between now and February is usually when we experience quiet times, right? Usually clients are either stretching out their appointments and so they're not coming in between that September October mark, but they're waiting for Christmas, or they come in Christmas and then January, February is like dead, right? I know that was the case for me. And this was also a recent conversation that I was having inside Evolve, which is my salon mastermind container. So if you're interested in a 12-month mentorship experience that's business and energetics and healing and deep transformation, babe, that is for you. Head to the show notes and you'll see the application there. Or if you've got questions, you can come and shoot me a DM on Facebook or Instagram, and I'm more than happy to have a conversation with you about that. And so as we were having this conversation with the previous babes inside, I was sharing with them just bits and pieces, and they were saying to me, like, like this time of month is always quiet. Like one of the girls is like, July is always dead for us. It's school holidays. Like it's just always quiet. And I was like, okay. I was like, it doesn't have to be like that. And she's like, no, Annie, you don't get it. Like it's been like that. I've been in business for like 20 years and it's literally been like that every fucking year. And I'm like, okay, well, that's worse. And she's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, that's worse that it's been like that for 20 years. And that tells me that you have not changed a strategy at all in the last 20 years. And she was like, oh, right. And then I just recently had a similar conversation with another babe as well, who was like, September is so quiet for us, it's always dead. And I was like, okay, well, it doesn't have to be. And she's like, no, but you don't get it, Annie, like it's always dead. And I'm like, I do get it. I do get it. And I get it because I used to say the same fucking thing to my own mentor. But January was always dead for me, right? And you're in the Facebook groups and everyone's saying the same, and so you're buying into the story and you're like, yes, it's not just me, it's the industry. And that was what I used to do. And I used to say that to my mentor, and I'd say to her, like January's so quiet, like it's just so quiet for the entire industry, like everyone experiences that. And she was like, no, I don't believe that. And I was like, pardon? Like, I mean, I know that I'm telling the truth because my stats show me that I'm telling the truth, right? So I'm like, I don't understand why you can't believe that. And she's like, you're only quiet because you let it be quiet. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, that doesn't make sense. And she's like, well, how's your December? And I'm like, oh my God, my December is like jam packed. It's so busy. It's so full all of the time. And she's like, okay. And like, tell me, like, why is it so full? And I'm like, oh, because clients like want to get in. And she's like, are you talking to your clients about getting in for December? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, right. She's like, what are your retail sales like? I'm like, oh my God, like it's so like December is like mind blowing. Like we have a huge month. And I'm like, retail's high, gift vouchers are high. And she's like, okay, and what are you doing on the back end of that? And I'm like, oh, well, like I'm talking to my clients about it. They're buying gifts for Christmas presents, all of that stuff. They're buying gift vouchers to give to family and friends and blah, 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 blah. And she's like, so it sounds like you put a little bit of work into it then to have a really successful December. And I was like, yeah, I guess I do. And she's like, what if you approached January the same way that you approached December? And I was like, fuck, ouch, that hurts. And so I love now when my clients come to me and they have these same conversations, because I'm like, oh, girl, I hear you, because I've been on that other end. And, when that mentor says that to you, you're like, fuck, shit, that's not cool. So I get it, right? I get it. And I only ever teach on something that I've been through myself. I never would ever teach on something that I've never experienced or had to go through on my own. And that's why I can help you through it, right? So I want to share with you like just some tips and some strategies to really help you eliminate these quiet months, right? And so go back through your data. And this is why it's really important that you're tracking all of the data, because so many of you don't track the data. But once you start gathering all of this data together and you start to see, there's going to be patterns, right? And I say this all the time to all of my clients. I'm like, the data doesn't lie, and there is always patterns. And so they'll say to me, let's say, for example, they're like, oh God, we're really quiet this week. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, let's go back 6 weeks ago and let's see, were you quiet? Yeah, we were quiet. Okay, let's go back 6 weeks prior to that and let's see, were you quiet? Yeah, we were quiet. Okay, so if you don't change something this week that you're quiet, guess what's going to happen? In 6 weeks' time, that pattern is going to keep playing out. And so being able to collect the data from purely just from a data point of view, right? Not from an emotional point of view. I know it's very easy to get so caught up in the emotional side of things and be like so attached to the numbers, and see the numbers be really high one week and then see the numbers be really low the next week, and that feels disheartening, and you're like, what the fuck did we do wrong? Like, I get it, but I really want you to step out of it and step out of the emotion from it and actually lean in and see just purely from a data perspective, right? You're going in as a CEO and you're looking at things from a data perspective, and that's it. And you're looking at the data to see how you can improve and tweak and grow the business with whatever it is. And that goes for any business. So even if you are not necessarily a salon owner, maybe you have a business, right? If you see patterns in your industry, then being able to collect and go back through that data, you can then start to shift the way that you show up, and you can do different things to avoid it from happening. And so this would be the first point that I would definitely encourage you to do, is to be tracking the data, because really having a good solid 12 months worth of data is really where you're going to then be able to see, are there patterns, right? And if you've been in business for a little time, you might know that there are some patterns without necessarily looking at the data, but the data is really, really helpful for you to be able to see like what is happening, what months are you getting new clients in, when you were getting those new clients, what were you doing differently versus the month that you're not now getting those clients, and really being able to look at all of the bigger picture of all of the stats, right? So that would be my first suggestion, is to really look at what is happening from the data. And then from the data, then you can start to change and implement things, because just because it's quiet and it's been like that for 20 years doesn't mean that it has to keep being like that. It just means that you need to implement and do something different, implement a new strategy and do something different. And that was what I did for my January. So I started planning out and marketing in October for my January to be full, right? And there's lots of different strategies and lots of different tools that I have inside Evolve. We go through a monthly marketing strategy plan every single month. So on our marketing call, we have a theme, we launch something for that month, and that becomes our theme. And the idea is pretty much similar to different strategies and things that I implemented in my own salon that allowed me to stop having quiet months. Because the reason that you have quiet weeks or quiet months is because you've changed something, or because you've dropped the ball on something that you shouldn't have dropped the ball on, whether that's marketing, whether that's rebooking, whether that is client retention, like reaching back out to clients when they didn't rebook. There will be something that will have happened that will be making that go into place. Now, before you come at me with the whole like, yeah, but Annie, the economy is like really bad at the moment and people are just not buying and they're just not spending money, like blah, 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 right? Like, I hear you, but I do not buy into that, right? That's the whole media's job, is to create fear. They want to create fear so they think that you're not in control, right? But you are in control. And I want you to remember this. Like, this is so important for you to not buy into this and eliminate wherever you're getting this information from, get it out of your space, right? Because energy is contagious. So if you're constantly in Facebook groups, you're constantly watching the news, you're constantly surrounding yourself with people that are all buying into this story, it's going to be very hard for you to see a different viewpoint. Get yourself into rooms where they don't buy into that, right? Like, my mentor just had a fucking $2 million week. A $2 million week. Don't tell me people aren't buying. Don't tell me people aren't spending money. People are spending money if she's making $2 million in a week, right? So don't buy into those stories, because your energy is contagious. So if you're buying into the stories that other people are telling you, your clients are going to feel that. I talk a lot about the energetics in my world, and you will feel, your clients will feel that energy that you've got around, oh, things are tight. Oh, and it's probably because things are tight for you, right? So if things are tight for you, like, how can you start to get yourself into spaces where you can be expanded, where you can start to really have this abundant mindset, right? It starts so much with the mindset before it starts with the strategy. I've actually got some stats here that I wanted to share with you, as well, around, people do have the money, right? So let's look at Apple, for example, right? Just Apple, not Samsung, not any other technology, just purely Apple. So Apple iPhones, and this is just iPhones. This is not Macs or iPads or, all of their AirPods or all of their other bits and pieces. This is purely just iPhones. They generated $69.7 billion in the first quarter of 2024, right? Now, the economy story has been playing out for, I would say, the best part of like probably 18 months, right? Don't tell me that there's an economy issue if people are spending $69.7 billion on iPhones. Why are they doing that? Because they see the value in it. If you see the value in something, you will find the money for it, right? So if your clients are not coming to you, whether you're in business or in the hair and beauty world, if you don't have clients coming to you, it's because they don't see the value. They do not see the value in why they would come and spend the money with you. If they're stretching out their appointments, it's because they don't see the value in coming to you every 6 weeks. So how can you start to create the value for those clients, right? And then if we look at 2023, globally, they sold $234.5 million worth of iPhones, right? In 2023. And I think we've been buying into this economy story for probably the best part of 2023 and the best part of 2024, more so the 2024, right? So there is no difference between Apple and you. They just create value, they create demand, and if people want it, they will buy it. That's as simple as it is, right? You don't have to overcomplicate this. It comes down to the value. Let's say you had no money in your bank account, right? And then your car broke down. This was an analogy that was used actually at the Living Brave Live event, with one of, in the mastermind, with one of the babes who's an 8-figure entrepreneur, right? And she was saying, people have money. People have money if they see the value and they need it, right? She was saying, let's say your car broke down and let's say you had no money. And this happens a lot, right? You would find that money. Let's say the mechanic said, shit, it's going to cost you $2,500 to fix this, to get it back up on the road. I guarantee that you would make that happen. You would try and find that money some way or another, whether that is through borrowing money from family and friends. Maybe you go to the bank and you get a credit card or something for it. Whatever it is, you might dip into your savings that you've got. Whatever it is, I guarantee that you would find that money for that very thing, because you see the value in having a car. You see what it's going to do. You see how it's going to impact your life if you don't have your car, right? So it's exactly the same with all the services that you offer, whether you're hair, beauty, or a different business. It doesn't matter. it's your job to show the client the value that's there. And so by you booking, let's use the example, go back to, December being absolutely flat out and then January being dead. Let's use that as an example, right? So, okay, cool. My January used to be so dead. But once I started implementing a new strategy, my January ended up being as busy as my December. And I was mind blown because I had bought into the story for years that was just what happened in January and February, and that was something we had to accept. But once I started doing things differently and I started strategizing properly and I started actually putting a marketing plan in place to fulfill my January and February so it was not quiet, everything changed. And I went from like a $4,000 month in January through to like a $35,000 month in January. And I changed it and I turned it all around. So I am sharing this with you because I do not want you to buy into any of the economy stories of there's no money out there or it's just quiet. This is what it's like every single year. No, it doesn't have to be like that. It's only like that because you're letting it be like that. Yeah. So start to maybe do something different. If something wasn't working in Apple or Telstra or, big companies, do you think they'd keep doing it? Or do you think they would reevaluate and reassess and go, okay, we're not making money here. This is not working. Let's reevaluate. They wouldn't keep doing it for the next 5 years. They would reevaluate because that's what a good CEO does. And they can do that because they're checking the data. They're looking at what's going on. They're able to assess it. And if it's not working, they pivot. And that's exactly the same with you. You get to pivot and change as well so that you can also be productive. So if you need help or you don't have a marketing strategy that actually fills your books every single month, this is the work that we do inside Evolve. So I highly recommend that you head to the show notes and complete the application and come on in, because you don't have to have the inconsistency with your cash flow months. You can literally set up your strategy. And there's so many other things that we talk about. We talk about memberships. We talk about marketing, like proper, like paid ads. There's so many different tools and strategies that you can use within your business that really allow you to continue to grow the business so that you can keep scaling without having to put more hours on the floor, right? This is where it really requires you to start to step off the floor and not work on clients and actually implement that time into the business so that the business can actually grow and flourish to its next level. So out of all of this episode, if there's one thing that you take away from this, it is stop subscribing to the economy is bad, right? And start looking up to the people that are showing you that it's possible and that it's not bad and that people are spending money, right? Get yourself into those rooms, get yourself into those types of containers and get those kind of friends, because it's very easy to buy into everybody else's story and that can impact your own reality. So being really mindful of that. Also, get the help that you need to change the business around, because it doesn't have to be the way that it is. Tracking your financial data as well to see what the patterns are, because there is always patterns in absolutely everything. The data doesn't lie. The data is always the truth. So that would be my top suggestions. And like I said, if you feel the call to deepen on our work, or maybe you don't own a salon, but you would love to work together, you can head to the show notes, or you can come and DM me and we can have a conversation about what I've got available for you. Or you can head to the show notes and see if there's something that piques your interest. If there's nothing there that piques your interest, then please come and DM me, because I do have a few things that are happening behind the scenes that are not actually publicized just yet. So that might feel good for you as well. But I hope this was really supportive. And let's have a ripper end of the year, and let's implement all of the strategies. Let's make sure that you're sending out your SMSs, you're being consistent with your marketing, you're sending out your email content as well. And you don't have to figure out new stuff for that either. You could literally just repurpose your content from social media and plug it into an email and send it out to the database. There's so many ways that you can grow a business. So that is my suggestion. Start planning now so that your December is nice and full, but also so your January is full and your November is full. Start strategizing now. Too many people wait until December to then fill their January. It's too late if that's your quiet month. A lot of people wait far too long to feel whatever their quiet month is. If you know September is your quiet month, starting to feel your September in September is way too late. You should have been doing that back in July to make sure that your September was going to be busy. So always make sure that you are planning stuff out at least that 2 months in advance so that your month is full. You're not waiting until you get to that month and then you're like, fuck, what am I going to do now? So I hope this was supportive. If there was anything that was a huge takeaway for you, come and let me know. I would love to hear from you. You know that I love to hear from you. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. We'll talk soon. Bye.